this podcast is at its most fundamental. It is that experience of both being incredibly human and open to the flow, open to the love, open to transforming our pain, our shadows into our gifts, into our art, into like this vibration of life that is at this next level of consciousness. In this having this deeply human experience while also being in connection with the divine and in that place of my humanity is divine as well, so that the divine is not just this thing that we're going for after death, or this place, this thing out there, but that it is also happening here. And I personally love the story. It's my favorite story of creation, that, God, who is this absolute unconditional love and light, just this absolute purity, got bored and was like, hey, I want to have more experiences. And so that the divine has then, gone on all of these journeys, and that the earth is a particularly special place to go on a journey, for the divine to go on a journey, because the earth, I as I understand it, is one of the most diverse planets. The diversity here is so amazing and extraordinary, even compared to, like, maybe there is a lot of life going on other planets, but that there is a special amount of life force energy here. It's beautiful, and oh my gosh, it is dark. And that the divine wants to experience all of that. And that is just like such a joy for me to remember. When I really get in touch with a deep knowing inside of myself that I came here to experience very specific things. I believe I came here to be a liberated woman, that I did not come here to get married and have kids, because I think I did that in a lot of lives. Or whether you believe, for me, I believe that we have multiple lives. But even if you don't believe that, just that our ancestors, that's what people have been doing in their lives. They have been, women have been getting married and having babies, and that is the main focus. Imagine to be a woman who decided not to do that, and how there's a lot of shackles. I feel that this lifetime I have been able to experience a level of freedom as a woman that women in the past have been dreaming of, have been longing for this sort of freedom. And I also believe that I came here to have a lot of insecurities. I mean, really have to deal with being a very deeply insecure human, and have to find that love inside, have to go in and find it and feel it, and purify the all these insecurities. I believe that we we purify insecurities through self-love, and especially embodied self-love, bringing the love into our body, breathing it in, feeling our bodies, breathing and surrendering and letting go and feeling ourselves melting in this vibration of love. And so I just feel so that is what the Divine and Alive is all about. It's coming to experience such a multitude of diversity on this planet, but also diversity of humans. Like, wow. I mean, we're all so different, and yet there's this, we're all humans. And so there's this incredibly magical, we are both, one human, and then on a spiritual level, we are all one. That one unconditional love coming to play itself out and experience life in all these different ways until finally we come back to remembering that we are love, and remembering that we are love is a complex situation where we are remembering that we are love is a deep process. It's not something that you just go, oh yeah, okay. It's a realization and an embodiment practice that is just probably going to take the whole of our lives. We're still going to be doing, I spoke to my 97-year-old grandpa recently, and we were listening to my very favorite pastor, Creflo Dollar. And he was saying that, you've got to keep saying, God, I need your help. And the way that I see that as God, I need your help is saying, yes, I am opening myself up to this higher, to this universe of, there's the closed self, which is worried, fearful, the shadow self here in the dark. And this is opening ourselves up to the light and remembering that all of it is beautiful. That we, without experiencing that darkness, we can't actually experience that light. They're happening simultaneously. And so when I hear Creflo Dollar saying to God, I need your help. God, I need your help. That is saying, I don't want to live in the shadows of my mind and my worry and my fear and my insecurity. This is about me opening to something, to God, to source, whatever that is for you. It's opening to that higher frequency, and we're surrendering to it. And we're saying, this little mind, this human self, I'm asking to be, for my mind to be empowered, my heart to be opened. And in that, there is a peacefulness, because we know that we don't have to figure it all out in our minds. But my point, going back, was that my grandpa, I was like, yeah, what if you just said, God, I need your help all day long? And my grandpa was like, I know, I cannot believe how often I forget. And that it's true that we forget. He said, I cannot believe how often I forget. I cannot believe how I can go the whole, time periods thinking I have to figure it all out. And then all of a sudden I remember, God, I need your help. And this is a man who prays several hours a day. He is the strongest Christian you could ever imagine. I mean, he has devoted his life to God. And still, he says that he forgets all the time. And it's just so crazy the level of amnesia that we are dealing with. It's like, I also see it as, it's like this very slippery waterfall, that you're trying to like climb up and you like, oh, and it's like this gravity and the slipperiness and the water and everything is like pushing us down. And it almost takes this, like, we have to keep, like, remembering and working on, staying up and remembering through this incredible amnesia that we are all dealing with. And also enjoy the fact that we are dealing with this, that this human experience is so freaking wild. It is so relentless. It is relentless. It is a relentless, maybe some people just get this easy peasy path, but for most people on the planet, it is a relentless thing that we're working on and that we're opening ourselves to. And I just first and foremost want to just open my heart to the gratitude of being alive, of being in this human body, where I both get to be a liberated woman and an incredibly insecure human being. And it's all wrapped up in so many stories and so much healing and so much transformation and so many wild experiences. And so that is what I feel this podcast is at its most fundamental. It is that experience of both being incredibly human and open to the flow, open to the love, open to transforming our pain, our shadows into our gifts, into our art, into like this vibration of life that is at this next level of consciousness. And as we sit deeply, we sink deeply into our shadows. We honor the shadows. We honor the humanity. We say yes to the mission of experiencing some really, really, really crazy, painful things. That we have the power to say, yes, I will go through this really, really challenging thing, and I will do it not just for myself, but for all of humanity. What if the way that I respond in this is how I always try to say, I am doing this for the collective, for the ancestors. I'm clearing out paradigms because I know how to do that, and because I feel called to do that. And therefore, there are some big challenges in this life for me. And when I am able to just allow life to be what it is, that it is both challenging. Challenging isn't even the word. It's so hard sometimes, and yet it is so beautiful. and this process of remembering ourselves as divine and alive. And the more that we remember, the more that we open, the more that we say yes, like, I am open to this next level. God help me, like, pour down the blessings. Let me be a vessel for life to flow through in the most beautiful ways. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, for being here and for exploring the beauty of being divine and alive. Let's just see here. I wanted to pull a card, just see what the universe wants to say, calling in our higher selves, asking for the message that wants to come through. Okay, so what I am seeing here is, ooh, okay, so what I see here is that one of the core issues that we're having on the planet is deception. There's a lot of deception going on. There's a lot of, look at the ways that in the political system, um, this group of people over here believe this thing, and this group of people over here believe this thing, and there is a further divide. Now, where is that coming from? It feels like, yeah, not only are there crazy characters here, but then it feels like there is also some crazy characters. There is such thing as a saying as divide and conquer. I mean, there's a reason why this is actually a thing, that if you can get the people divided, and if you can get the people to think that their neighbor is their enemy, their family is their enemy, if you can get people to see the other people, in the other state as the enemy, then we're not going to be calling out the people at the top. We're not going to be focusing on maybe some of the deception that is going on. It's like, yeah, we'll hide what we're doing and just make everyone hate each other. Now, I'm not putting that out there as a conspiracy theory. I'm putting that out there as something that seems quite obvious, and that there are even scratch all that. So yes, with deception, we are also in the process of deceiving ourselves. We don't want to get honest. I don't want to get honest sometimes about myself. I don't want to really acknowledge some of my addictions and how they are not serving me. I don't want to get honest about certain shadows that I have, because it's even though it's so painful to stay in them, it's so deceptive. We're so deceived. Even I can say I am having realizations about some of my patterns that I have been literally just not looking at. It's too much to look at it. It's too complicated. It's like going into a hornet's nest, and you have to sometimes get in there and be able to breathe And so this is some of the deception that, us deceiving ourselves. That we are deceiving ourselves. We are creating that tension within ourselves. That we are, it's again goes back to that amnesia. It's so strong. And again, that amnesia is our inner deceptor, our inner trickster, like it's the ego constantly deceiving you. You don't really need to work on that. Just go over there and like do some yoga or, be a good person, but you don't have to look at that thing that you really, really, really don't want to look at. There is, or it's so, the ego can be so strong that we just can't see. We just cannot see some of this deep stuff going on within us. So we just have to keep going and recognize that life is always mirroring to us. We're gonna see it somehow, and if we don't get it the first 50 times, maybe we'll start to see it on the 51st time. And so the way that we deceive ourselves, the way that there seems to be powers that be that are deceiving all of us, the way that we deceive the world on social media. We create envy by saying, my life is perfect, and without being raw and real about how crazy this is. So yeah, that is what was. And the second card is, what we have to do is get a vision. Each of us, like, have a vision of what it is that we want. And this is not the sort of, manifestation, sort of like I'm manifesting. And no, this is about having a vision, understanding our purpose and having that vision and flowing to it. And realizing that we are here on a much deeper level than we might think that we are, that we really are bringing these unique vibrations. We're offering our gifts. We're turning our pain into beauty. And that's the human experience of what we are doing. That is a part of being that divine and alive, that we are both spirit living in this wild, wild experience that we're in. And just knowing that, yeah, we can call our spirits home. We're calling in our higher selves into the space, into our bodies, and we are asking for exactly the messages that want to come through for the highest alignment of ourselves, our relations, and all beings on the planet. We are literally breathing ourselves home. We are embodying our soul. We are remembering ourselves as the divine here in this body and here in this crazy. So that is a huge thing of what we are doing here on this podcast. That's the core teaching. That is the core teaching of this podcast, that we are honoring the human experience and everything that it is, that we are honoring the way that things are, even when they're really hard. We are honoring ourselves as this human, incredibly human, suffering self. And then we are opening our hearts to the love that is available in each moment, that unconditional love. We're calling in, as Grandpa says, that Creflo Dollar says, that we're calling God in, and that we are part of God. We are calling ourselves here into this present moment, feeling ourselves embodied, feeling the love that is flowing, and releasing the tension in our body, and just beginning to glow with that vibration of love and that the divine aliveness, the spirit and human, the beauty and challenge. It's bringing everything together in this, the duality. This is a tantra. Is that actually the duality? There's so much beauty and duality in the contrast, in the muckiness. And that is absolutely what I believe in. I live it. I love it. I am such a true embodiment of giving thanks for the human experience. That the challenge is so challenging sometimes. It is so challenging that I do not want to be here sometimes. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not talking about being, the S word at all. I'm just talking about like, oh, come on, it's just like, wow, there's so much. And so there is that part of it is also sacred, and finding the sacred. And thank you so much for being here.